I'm 30 years old and a heavy weightlifter at the gym, and I had to have emergency back surgery last week, so let's talk about it. I've been a heavy lifter at the gym for around 7 years now, so it is a really big part of my lifestyle. And my bench PR is 230 pounds, and that's just to give you a baseline of how heavy I am lifting. I want to say I had absolutely no back problems or issues until 3 months ago, so 7 years into lifting. When I first realized I got hurt, I actually wasn't even at the gym. I was at the airport and I had just parked and I was just leaning down into my car to pick something up. And I realized that my lower back hurt. Like, it just felt like a pinch. It really didn't hurt much at all. It just felt like a pinch. So I thought maybe I pinched a nerve, maybe it was just something small. I really didn't think much of it, right? But over the next few days, I was having issues getting out of bed. I realized that the problem was serious. Then I started to get a little bit worried and I was like, what if I really pulled something in my back? What if I threw out one of my discs? I don't know. When I got back from the trip, I landed in my airport and drove directly to urgent care, which probably was a mistake. I want to say that I don't have health insurance, so this whole situation has been crazy without health insurance. That's my own issue, but I am self-employed and I work for myself, and I haven't had health insurance in years because of the high costs. So I go to urgent care and they basically prescribe me a steroid for my lower back pain called methylprednisone, which, if you don't know what that is, it's a steroid that can help with, I think, inflammation and, back issues and whatnot. But I highly advise against it unless you have to do it, because for me, it maybe ended up helping my back about 25%. And all it did for me was mess up my mental health and cause me insane depression and thoughts that I never have. I was waking up in the middle of the night in tears, which is crazy for me. And I'm like, what is going on? What is happening? And then I finally am starting to research that this steroid is so extreme that it can also cause other issues. Not to mention, this steroid also caused me to mess up my time of the month, which never happens. I have a very strict schedule for that. And this was the first time in years that my menstrual cycle was messed up. So that didn't help me. And then I started going to the chiropractor, which helped with the pain a little bit, but obviously it didn't do much. And finally, my chiropractor is like, okay, you need to get an MRI. We need to see what's actually going on here. At this point, we're like weeks into my injury and I'm having trouble sitting. I can't be in cars long. I can't sit down at dinner without getting up to stretch. I'm definitely in a lot of pain. It's affecting my daily life. So I finally muster up the courage and the finances to go get an MRI. And of course, I'm a little bit claustrophobic, so I go get an open MRI, which wasn't nearly as bad as being in that bubble and not being able to move. And as soon as I get the open MRI results, I'm like, oh no. I send it to my chiropractor. He calls me. He's like, oof, you have an extremely large herniated disc. He's like, I know this is bad news for you. Honestly, I'm even kind of shocked it's this big. And then I'm kind of panicking because I'm like, I'm having doctors tell me that this is not good. So at this point, he's talking to me about all my options and he's like, okay, listen, if I was you, I would maybe try getting an epidural, which is where they go into your lower back and they give you an epidural injection to stop some of the pain. Now, this doesn't work for everyone, but it works for some people. So they recommended I try that. So I go to another doctor, a spinal doctor, and she gives me a lower back epidural, which basically worked for me for 3 days. And after 3 days, I was in more pain than I felt before the epidural. At this point, I couldn't even really walk. I literally was having issues getting out of bed and walking. And I'm someone who's been very active my entire life, so this was so hard for me to not even be able to walk. But I'm realizing something must have happened and something really bad must be going on for me to now be in more pain than I was before. I'm trying everything. I'm stretching, I'm using a decompression belt, I'm doing something called the Mackenzie method, which is a stretch to be able to try to maybe be able to put the herniated disc back in place a little bit. I am trying literally everything I can do, and nothing is working. I also want to add that my pain tolerance is actually extremely high, and all of those doctors are telling me, hey, your pain tolerance is too high. You may need to go get checked out because you might be in a lot more pain than even we can understand because you're able to push through the pain, basically. So after hearing this from more than one doctor, I obviously start to get a little freaked out. But then fast forward to 2 weeks after my epidural, I'm still in an endless amount of pain, way more pain than I'm in before the epidural. And it finally happened one day. I was putting my clothes away in my room and I started to feel a really intense pain. So I just laid down on the ground and I'm just like, you know, whatever, I'll be okay. Just another really bad pain, right? Well, my boyfriend comes into my room a few minutes later and he's like, oh my gosh, are you okay? What's going on? He tries to help me up. And when he helps me up, I felt the most pain I've ever felt in my life. And I immediately knew something was very, very wrong. I've never in my life been scared to lose my legs or be paralyzed or disabled until that very moment. I literally felt like I was going to lose my legs. Basically what had happened was my herniated disc went completely into my nerve endings, and I'll insert the picture here so you guys can see what it looked like. This is from the MRI at the hospital later. So obviously you can see it's really, really bad, and I am in screaming pain, which I've never been in before. I'm crying from the pain, which I don't think I had shed any tears from my back injury before this day. I mean, I am literally in agonizing pain. I'm screaming, you know, I'm calling my spinal doctor, the one who gave me the epidural, to basically give me recommendations for, you know, the best local surgeon. And it's funny because we actually were already going to have a meeting the following week to discuss potentially having surgery and which surgeons were the best. And I didn't even make it to that day because of this emergency that I had. So I tried to think really logically and I called her, and luckily she was available, and she's like, okay, you need to go to this hospital, which I live in North Florida. She said, go to Baptist Health downtown. You know, these are the best surgeons, see if they're able to work on you. I don't know if they'll be able to work on you because this is an emergency, but these are the ones I recommend. So basically I hung up the phone with her. We called 911 because I literally am now on the floor and I cannot move. My entire right side of my body is convulsing. It's the best way I can describe it is my lower half of my body is having a seizure. So my muscles are spasming insanely, where you can physically see them spasming, and obviously I can feel it, and it's just the most intense pain I've ever felt, and I wouldn't wish it on anyone. Obviously my boyfriend is like, oh my gosh, this is not good, you know, we've got to take this seriously. So we call 911, a bunch of firemen come into my house because I literally cannot get up, I cannot move. I live on the second floor, they have to get a stretcher, get a sheet and put me on the sheet to put me down to the first floor because the stretcher can't come up to the second floor. So they got to use the sheet. Then I get on the stretcher and the ambulance guy is like, oh my gosh, this is so bad. You know, you're too young to be having this pain. And I'm like, I know. So they take me to the hospital that I recommend, which also I recommend for all of you with lower back issues to have a hospital and a surgeon already lined up. Have a surgery consult already lined up if you have lower back issues, just in case you ever get in a situation like I was in. But anyway, so it's only a 10-minute ride to the hospital. I'm still screaming in pain. I get to the hospital and, you know, obviously I've got to sign all these papers to just be seen just be admitted. I mean, it's crazy. And I'm in screaming pain, literally signing my life away. Don't care because I just want to live at this point. So I get a CT scan done and my results come back very abnormal. She says I have a lot of compression, but that the doctor won't be able to do surgery on me for a week and that I should just take a bunch of pain meds and go home. I'm like, I literally can't move. She realizes I can't get out of bed. So she's like, okay, let's do an MRI to make sure. So I go do an MRI and, you know, I'm on every pain medication possible, which is crazy because I normally don't take meds. So I'm completely out of my mind at this point. And I get the MRI done. The MRI results come back insane, which is that photo I just showed you. And then that's when they started taking me seriously. I had to get the MRI for them to really take me seriously. And then they start to worry. They're like, oh my gosh, okay, yeah, you need emergency surgery literally like in the next 24 hours. Like this is an emergency. So she goes back to the surgeon. And I got so lucky. I'm so grateful to that surgeon because he's one of the best in the city. And he was able to operate on me literally the next day. So I just had to spend the night in the hospital. And literally the next day I woke up from surgery in way less pain than I was in for the last 3 months. So I am so grateful for getting that surgery. And basically, I'm just making this video to kind of tell you guys what I went through and to encourage you, if you also have lower back pain, that, you know, try all your options to not have surgery, but don't be afraid to just get the surgery, because so far it's been life-changing for me. I can't bend, lift, or twist for 2 more months, but I think it'll be totally worth it. I'm paranoid of re-herniating, but I'm so grateful to that surgeon. And I am in way less pain than I was before the surgery. And now I'm honestly upset with myself because so many people were telling me, don't do the surgery, don't do the surgery, try to do anything but surgery. And while I agree with that, I woke up from surgery in way less pain than I was in before the surgery, even the morning of. So this was the first surgery I've ever had in my life where I woke up and felt better and had tears of joy post-surgery. So don't be scared to just pull the trigger and get the microdiscectomy, because it could be life-changing for you. Obviously, there is a chance of complications going forward. There's about a 5 to 15% chance of re-herniating once you have this issue. And that sucks to hear, but it is what it is. You know, all we can do is live our life and try to take it easy for a while. And, you know, I hope I can be back in the gym eventually. But I really wanted to make this video to tell you guys that there is a light at the end of the tunnel. I really empathize with you if you have this kind of chronic back pain. I just know how debilitating it can be, but there really is a light at the end of the tunnel. I'm living proof, because this time last week I couldn't get off the floor, and now I am walking literally perfectly fine. I am happy. I am literally 6 days post-surgery and I feel like a new person. And yeah, so I just wanted to make this video to really give some hope to somebody out there with a back problem. I love you guys. And for any of you that are interested, I will be documenting some of my recovery journey and kind of letting you guys know how I'm feeling over time and, you know, what's going on with my back injury. That way any of you with one too can kind of follow along and see what's up. So yeah, that's all. Have a great rest of your day.